Okay, well, I'm sitting outside today. It's a beautiful day. I have a student who stopped by. Your name is?
Sasha.
Sasha, I'm Evan.
All
nice
right.
to meet you. So yeah, you saw my sign. You asked, I think your question was, have I ever changed anyone's mind?
Yeah.
So, I don't know if you want to pick up on that thread, or, pick another point to talk about, or what,
I don't know. I just thought I saw your sign. I thought it would be an interesting conversation.
Yeah. Well, I'll just ask, are you a Christian?
No.
Okay. Were you ever a Christian?
Yes, I was raised Christian.
Okay. Where are you from?
Houston, Texas, born and raised.
Houston. All right. So your parents took you to church?
Yeah.
Got you baptized?
My dad did.
Your dad did. Okay.
Yeah.
You were baptized.
Yeah.
Was it a good church? Did you have good experiences there?
I have had good experiences there. I still have good experiences there. I still go. Like, my parents are divorced, so I still go there on the weekends.
Okay.
Like when I'm with him.
Okay. So you just don't believe it anymore, though?
No.
What made you not believe?
Realized I didn't have any good reason to. As in, I couldn't. I my beliefs were being scrutinized, obviously, because I interact with people of different belief systems.
Yeah.
And I realized my beliefs didn't stand up to scrutiny, so I discarded them. Which is,
Yeah, I went through that phase once too. What is one example of a belief that under scrutiny failed to stand up to the test?
My belief in God. I couldn't justify why I believed in God, and I realized that, and so I discarded that belief.
Okay. So when you say belief, so you would say then that you are an atheist?
Yeah.
Okay, so as in you think there is no God.
I think it's the most, it's what we should conclude based on the evidence.
Okay. So
I'm not saying for sure one way or the other, but
okay.
Yeah.
Would you say you're a materialist? Are these words that you've studied or concepts you've studied a lot? Or
materialist in what sense? There are a few different things that can mean.
Okay, well, I mean in the very basic sense that only material things exist.
Well, what do you mean by material things?
Only things you can experience with your senses. Touch, smell, see.
No, I can't experience. There are a lot of things I can experience with my senses.
Well, I agree.
I
agree that immaterial things exist,
well,
which is why I think materialism.
I can't experience subatomic particles with my senses.
But you know they exist.
Yeah, because we can.
They exist in space.
We can do experiments with them.
Okay, but
and demonstrate that they exist.
But they exist in space.
Yeah.
Yeah. Do you think immaterial things exist?
It depends on what you mean by immaterial and what you mean by exist.
Things that do not exist in space. Things that exist but not in time or space. For example, the laws of logic.
The laws of logic?
Do you think they exist?
Not really.
No?
No.
How are we having this conversation? It depends on the laws of logic, right? I mean, language itself, math, for example, all depend on certain laws of logic, right? Law of non-contradiction, law of excluded middle, that sort of thing, right?
Uh-huh.
Okay, so actually you rely on the laws of logic.
Yeah.
But they're immaterial. Okay. My only point in saying that, I'm not trying to, and I'm not like a philosopher at all, never even taken a single philosophy class. My only point in saying that was to say that someone who is an atheist is committed to materialism. Only material things exist.
Not necessarily, actually. I know people who are atheists who are still spiritual.
Yeah.
For instance, and I think our disagreement on the laws of logic in particular was due to our disagreement with the word exist.
Okay.
Because the laws of logic don't exist. They're not somewhere. You're not going to go out there and find them somewhere. I
agree. That's my point. Is that they're immaterial.
They're laws that govern these abstract concepts called propositions that we create in our minds and with our mouths and when we say them.
So could one person on Earth have one set of laws of logic and someone else have another laws of logic?
No, because logic is a system that we created collectively, and laws of logic are the rules we use to define that system that we created.
Okay, so it's a creation of man.
Yeah. That
laws of logic. They're not universally binding abstract things at all. Okay. Well, I would definitely disagree with that, because if man created them, did they have a council somewhere or a committee I wasn't aware of where they said these are the laws of logic?
Well, no, they were defined like back in various places by various different people.
Like the Greek philosophers?
Different philosophers. You can find
did they create
laws of logic
them?
from Kant, from Bertrand Russell, from various different philosophers.
Yeah. Do they have different rules of the laws of logic?
Sometimes they state them in different ways. Sometimes, like it really just depends on who's
What about laws of morality? Do you think
What
that
do you
do you think that there are things like that are universally right and wrong, or do you think that's also a human
I think
agreement, a set of rules that we can agree upon? But that could differ from people to people.
I think when you prescribe the idea of right or wrong onto something, you're misunderstanding what right and wrong mean. Morals are not objective, measurable facts of reality. They're guiding principles for how you act and how you behave.
But who is the person who gets to set the guiding principles?
Why does it have to be an external person who gets to set the guiding principles?
I didn't say external. I mean, is it a majority
rule? Each person has different guiding principles for how they act and behave.
Do they?
Yes.
But we would both agree slavery is wrong.
I mean, yeah.
Oh, so we do. Have some agreements.
One of my guiding principles is don't do slavery. Yeah.
Okay. How about human trafficking?
Yeah, that's pretty bad.
How about murder?
I wouldn't do that.
What about abortion?
I'm fine with that.
Okay, so now our disagreement doesn't mean that there are not objective things that are true for all people in all times, though, right? Like, isn't murder always wrong? Not killing, but murder. Wouldn't murder always be wrong?
In what again? You're ascribing this
wouldn't
property
is slavery always wrong?
You're ascribing this property of wrong onto the thing itself, rather than understanding that the idea of wrong comes from you interpreting that thing and understanding that thing.
Well, so you're assuming that, but I fundamentally disagree with your premise. I don't think humans decided that it was wrong. They observed that it is wrong. Just like they didn't decide on the rules of logic, they observed the rules of logic.
Okay. Now you're appealing to observation. How did they observe something? Like, what's the measure of goodness, essentially? How did they observe that slavery or murder?
I would ask you the same thing, because on atheism, slavery is totally defensible.
Well, it depends.
Slavery is easily defensible.
It depends on what your morals are.
Well, what are an atheist morals?
Well, that depends on the atheist. Atheism.
Well, then what good are they?
And atheism doesn't innately prescribe certain morals.
I'm aware.
There are various moral philosophies that atheists can hold.
I'm aware. That's the problem. So
you can have a certain ideology that doesn't prescribe any specific morals onto you. Like,
no, you can't. You just said abortion was okay.
Okay, wait.
You have moral prescriptions.
I do, but those are separate from atheism. Those aren't given to me by. There's no God, therefore abortion is okay. No. There's no God is not a part of the argument for why abortion is okay.
Well, ultimately it is.
How so?
Well, because everyone has a religion, everyone has a worldview, Not
everyone has a religion.
Yes, you have a religion.
No, I don't.
Yes, you do.
I don't.
You have ultimate concerns.
Do you?
You have ultimate concerns. You will, if we talk long enough, you will agree that there are absolute prescriptions that would apply to all people in all times.
Give me an example.
Slavery.
I think.
So now you defend slavery?
What? Hang on. I was about to say I don't think that the Confederate soldiers during the Civil War. I don't think they had that prescription. I don't think they.
No, I'm not saying that people haven't disagreed about slavery historically. Obviously, they do. We disagree about abortion right now. I'm saying that abortion is universally wrong, and you are saying that slavery is universally wrong.
When did I say that?
You don't think slavery is universally wrong?
I don't believe in the concept of universally wrong.
Okay, so
as in like prescribing morality outside of the context of.
So you think every human essentially can define their own morality for them?
I think not only do I think they can, I think they do.
Okay, so do you think cannibalism is wrong?
No.
You don't think cannibalism is wrong?
Not inherently. I think if you.
Well, you don't think anything inherently because you're an atheist.
Okay, wait, hang on.
Everything.
I wouldn't be inherently opposed to cannibalism. I would be opposed to killing someone. The killing someone innocent. That is the part that
let
I'd
me
be opposed to.
ask you
if someone's if okay, wait.
Well, let me give you a real life example.
Yeah, okay.
Okay, there was a German guy that put out an ad in the classifieds. You can Google this, look it up. It was 15 or 20 years ago. Put out an ad in the classifieds or whatever in the newspaper. Said, "I want to kill you and eat you." Like multiple people said, "Okay." And he did that. He met a guy, he killed him, and he ate him. And in the court system, it was determined that, well, he didn't do anything wrong. Everybody voluntarily agreed. Do you agree? Was it wrong to eat that guy or not?
Was it wrong? Okay, you have to. There's a distinction between was it wrong to kill the guy and was it wrong to eat the guy.
Okay, either one.
Was it
You
wrong
choose.
to eat the guy after the guy was already dead? No.
Okay.
Was it wrong to kill the guy? Potentially.
Well, I hope I'm never around you after I'm dead, because I might, I actually do believe in, not desecrating bodies and such, But okay, but it was wrong to kill the guy, according to who?
Maybe it depends on the context.
According to you, well. I mean, the context was the guy put out an ad saying, "I want to kill somebody," and another guy hated himself so much he said, "Okay."
Well, okay. Now you're adding in this idea that the guy hated himself, and
I'm assuming that's the only reason.
In that case, that potentially has the sort of added what's the word? The added context of now this guy is exploiting this guy's mental illness for his cannibalistic
mental illness.
Desires.
I never said anything about mental illness.
Hang on,
the guy voluntarily said.
Again,
I mean, does everyone who commits suicide mentally ill?
No, but most of them are.
I don't know. I've never done a study on that, so I couldn't say. Here, let me ask you this, in all seriousness, okay? Like, do you think that as you go through life, you're content that Sasha has a point of view on things, and Evan has a point of view on things, and the guy walking across the street, he has a point of view on things, and that's okay. We just all kind of have our own point of view on things. Or do you think, like I think, that there should be as much shared point of view on things as possible so that we can actually live together in peace, so that we can have a justice system, for example, that can decide if it's wrong to kill people or have abortions or kidnap people?
I mean, I think it's usually preferable when people share certain morals, but
okay. But like, do you envision a world in which you actually want to be a part of something bigger, you might say, where your moral system prevails? Because what you're actually arguing for so far is total atomization of society, where literally you can decide what is right and I can decide what is right.
That's how it already works.
No.
Literally,
no,
yes.
if I kill a guy, I could go to jail. Because as a society,
because the state thinks that's wrong, and then the state's going to come.
Why does the state think that? Who is the state?
The state is the collection of people who run the country.
Okay, so people then think murder is wrong collectively.
Most of them, yeah.
Yeah. So therefore.
Oh, hi.
They can join too. Are you a student at Heist?
No.
Oh, maybe I shouldn't have said that.
Thank you.
I've been outnumbered before. It wouldn't be the first time. Okay. So, anyway, so I would argue that collective agreement on what is right and wrong is necessary for any sort of human flourishing at a baseline. And then the
collective agreement on everything, though.
No, I wouldn't say that.
Like, we're having this conversation and we disagree on abortion.
Yeah. Well, we can
we
can have civil disagreements. Unfortunately, a lot of children are going to lose their life, though, because collectively we don't agree that human life should be protected in the womb. So therefore, I advocate in every way that I can, from the pulpit, participating in some political activism. Are you a pastor
of this church?
Yeah. So participating, in any way that I can to say that abortion is wrong. It should be abolished totally.
Okay.
Because that speaks for the unborn. I mean, I'm trying to give voice to the voiceless. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Is that a good thing?
Trying to get abortion.
No, is it a good thing to speak for those who can't speak for themselves?
I think usually, yeah.
Good by what standard?
By my standard.
Okay. So again, we're back to this question of, do you want to go through life where you basically are okay with you having a point of view about things and I have a point of view, or do you want to work where we kind of start to agree on something, like collectively?
I think there are a lot of specific things we can agree on.
Yeah.
Like murder.
Okay. Slavery. Yeah. I could argue slavery in some ways, but I won't. For example, there are people who enlist in the army, right? And they give their life to the army for 4 or 6 years or something, right?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And so they don't really have a lot of freedom in their life. They're kind of moved around. They go to school. They get deployed. They're put on a battlefront. Stuff like that. So I think you could nuance even that conversation. But generally, when we speak of slavery, we're talking about chattel slavery in the antebellum South and right? Okay, we would say that was wrong. Yeah. But I would say it's wrong by biblical standards. I don't know why you would say it was wrong.
Well, because I would say it's wrong by utilitarian standards.
How?
Because it caused suffering.
So?
Because that's what utilitarianism is.
No, it's about utility. Slaves are useful.
That's
utilized.
Wait.
Okay, define utilitarianism.
Utilitarianism is a moral philosophy that seeks to maximize the best outcome for the greatest number, as in the most pleasure and the least suffering.
Okay. So
it seeks to minimize suffering, and slavery caused suffering, therefore slavery is bad.
So what percentage of Americans own slaves?
I'm not sure the exact number.
Well, about 2%.
Okay.
So that's a pretty small minority of people, and they benefited not only America but the world with everything they produced. So utilitarianism might say that, well, small number of people, relatively small number of slaves. They have to suffer, but look at all the benefits we get from all the cotton. Of course, I'm not advocating for that. I'm playing the devil's
advocate. That same outcome could have been achieved without slavery, though.
Well, eventually it was. But at the time, it wasn't.
But that's why opposition to slavery is still valid, even if that outcome couldn't be. I would argue suffering is greater, but even if.
Okay, but let me ask you this: if I just disagreed with you about slavery, what are you going to do about it?
I'm not going to do anything about it.
Yeah. So, what really good is having? What really good is it to have a point of view that is so radically atomized that you actually don't even think I should believe what you believe about slavery?
Okay, but if I think slavery is okay, what are you going to do about it?
Oh, I believe in the use of force.
So, to silence speech?
To end slavery.
Okay, I also believe in the use of force to end slavery.
Okay.
But
wow, that's a radical change from being an autonomous person who says that my morals don't interfere with anyone else's morals.
That's...
Now we're agreeing on the use of force.
I didn't say that my morals don't interfere with anyone else.
Okay, but you said that cannibalism is okay if somebody wants to do it. Should there be a law against cannibalism?
No.
Okay, should there really be a law against slavery?
Yes.
Should it be enforced?
Yes.
All right, there we go. So we'll agree on slavery. I'll take that as a good point of agreement. I would say, I mean, because this has been a really fun conversation. But I would say what it kind of comes down to, because I never know how long I might be able to talk to somebody, so I'll try to get to the point quickly. At the end of the day, my goal as a pastor, as someone talking to students, is for them to understand that this is God's world and we live in it. I would actually argue that atheism produces nothing but absurdity. Like, technically, absurdity. You can't account for anything. You can't account for the creation of anything. You can't account for any objective morals and values. Everything you advocate for, I could just be like, okay, so why? Like, you say something is good, okay, well, you say that that's your opinion and this is mine. I'm actually arguing for a world to come under the conformity of God.
Okay.
That's my argument.
Okay.
What do you think about that?
I don't like that.
Why
not? Because I am an atheist and I don't believe in God.
He believes in you.
Okay.
Probably heard that before.
Okay. Yeah, I have.
Okay. Well, okay, you don't believe in God.
Yeah.
Okay. Let's go back to this topic of slavery then. You believe in Darwin?
Like that he existed?
Like the survival of the fittest. You can probably see where this is going very quickly.
I mean, yeah, it's trivial by definition, the survival of the fittest, because the fittest are the ones who are capable of surviving by definition. So yes.
Okay.
Like by tautology, yes.
Yeah. Okay. Well, not necessarily. There are lots of unfit people that we allow to survive. For example, a premature baby born at 22 weeks, and we spend $1 million on them being in the NICU at a hospital. Not the strongest.
But they're less fit to survive, and they're less likely to as well because they're less fit to survive.
Right. Should we let them die?
No.
Okay.
I mean,
interesting. Okay, but here's the point. If Darwinism is applied to humanity, as some kind of moral framework, I would argue a utilitarian framework, which is what it really is, then why is slavery really wrong? It's just one group of people stronger than another using them for their purposes.
Just because something wait. Do you mean to imply that white people are superior to black people?
Of course not.
In terms of fitness?
No, I'm not implying that. But an atheist could. I would argue an atheist is actually compelled to believe that on a materialist evolutionary worldview, that things have value based on their survivability. They don't have intrinsic. Yeah. Moral.
Why?
Well, atheists don't believe in morals. There are no atheists in morals. There's only nature red in tooth and claw, right? There's only DNA.
You were just appealing to moral value. Though.
Well, yeah, I can do that as a Christian.
Well, no, but you were appealing to moral value hypothetically through the framework of atheism, which you just stated doesn't have moral value.
Okay, if I said that, I misspoke. An atheist cannot account for moral values. They certainly cannot account for moral duties. You can say slavery is wrong, but you can't account for it.
We don't have to. First, you have to justify that moral values and moral duties are things that are intrinsic properties of the universe. That only then do we have to account for.
Like the laws of logic.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yes, do I have to account for it? I don't think I have to account for it.
Well, you have to justify its existence in order to say that I have to account for it.
Well, but you can't account for something like the laws of logic without using the laws of logic. You see, there are some things that are so circular in their existence that you can't prove they exist without using them, right? And I would argue that morality is the same. Now, at some point, we're going to get down to like whether or not morality.
I would agree that morality, just like logic, is a human invention.
Well, I would disagree. So where does that get us? I would argue that morality is like for example, which of the 10 Commandments do you disagree with?
I am the Lord your God who liberated you from slavery in Egypt.
So you shall have no other gods. You would disagree with that?
I wouldn't disagree that you shall have no other gods. I disagree with the part of that commandment that says,
okay,
I am the Lord your God who brought you out of Egypt.
But here's the thing. This is what I'm trying to say, and I'm not saying it very well. On atheism, you are committed to materialism. Now, you can say, well, I have friends that also believe in spirits. Well, what spirits? What does that mean, spiritual? From my point of view, atheism is, without immateriality, which is what atheism describes, okay, you're committed to materialism. On materialism, I am fundamentally no different from any other animal. I'm just an animal that evolved, and I created a set of moral codes that you and I agree with a lot of the time, but sometimes we don't. So how do we resolve that?
We could try to convince each other.
Okay, which is what we're doing now.
Yeah.
And we're not gonna end this in a violent way or anything like that, obviously. But you do know that
we have to appeal to the fundamental values that each of the person that each.
Where do
person
your
has.
values come from as an atheist?
My moral values.
Yeah.
They're utilitarian.
Right. Yeah. So again, we're back to this thing of Darwinism is utilitarianism.
No.
How not? Like, why? What gives a human being value in utilitarianism?
There's a difference between fitness and pleasure. You understand that if you kill those who are unfit, they're then going to suffer when they die.
Yeah.
And also, they're not going to be able to experience the pleasure of living. And so that...
Like an abortion.
It's... Well...
Because we are killing human beings when we're aborting babies, right?
No.
Oh. Shucks, man, I thought we were so close to agreeing on something.
Okay, when you kill a human being, they're going to suffer when they die.
Yeah.
And they're not going to be able to experience the pleasure of living, and so that's wrong on utilitarianism.
Why?
I just said it. Because it's wrong on utilitarianism.
Why is it good to experience pleasure? What makes that a good?
Well, you like it, don't you?
Well, yeah, but I can account for it because I believe in God.
You like it. I like it.
Yeah, but I can account for it and you can't.
What do you mean?
So I believe that Jesus says, "I came to give you joy that you may have it abundantly." So I can account for like why I think joy is a good thing. Why is joy a good thing on an evolutionary worldview?
Because
great white sharks have joy.
I think it's good for me to experience joy because I like it.
Okay, well, good for you. Congratulations. Now account for it. Are you an animal? Are you
yes.
something special because
we
you're
are
a human
both
being?
Animals.
Okay, are you something more than an animal? By virtue
Everything is something more than an animal. Like, what do you can get more specific?
Do you think a dolphin is an animal?
Yes.
Do you think he's more than an animal in the same way that you are more than an animal?
I think he's more than an animal in that he's also a dolphin. He's
okay,
also gray.
Do you think that you and a dolphin have equal moral worth?
No.
You think you have more moral worth?
Yes.
Why?
Because my moral worth is rooted in the principle of empathy, and you can't really have empathy for a dolphin as a human in the same way that you can have empathy for a human as a human.
So once again, you're determining what has value, though.
In the sense that a dolphin, it's not capable of understanding in the way that humans capable of understanding. It's not capable of thought in the same way that a human is. It's not capable of consciousness in the same way that a human is. And so all these things are, the humans are better at them than dolphins are.
Yeah. Okay. But so what about a human being who's in a terrible car wreck and he loses his capacity to think, he lost his left arm, and he's going to be on disability the rest of his life? Did their value
can't think?
If
he can't think, he's dead.
No, I mean like he can't do advanced calculus. He can't feed himself. He has to wear diapers the rest of his life.
I mean,
did their value decrease? Their utilitarian value surely decreased, right?
No.
Really? They used to run a $1 million company, and now they can't
do calculus.
Well, again, I don't think their value decreased. I'm asking on atheism.
No, the ability to do calculus has nothing to do with this.
Okay, well, what about the ability to not be a burden on society?
Everyone's a burden on society. You're a burden on society. I'm a burden on society.
To a degree, yeah. I like to think that I also contribute to society.
How
you know what I mean? Well, I mow the yard. I pay taxes. Okay. I preach the gospel. I talk to students.
That guy also pays taxes.
What's that?
That guy also pays taxes.
Okay. You're smart. I hear what you're saying, but I think you're being unnecessarily contentious because your argument is that things have value because of utility.
My argument is that I'm a utilitarian in that I think pleasure is good and suffering is bad.
Okay.
That's
okay. What if suffering leads to more good results than a lack of suffering?
The pleasure often outweighs the suffering.
Okay, so who determines the right amount of suffering?
Well, the person who's doing the suffering, I would think.
Okay. What if they can't speak for themselves? What if someone's in a coma and we don't know if they'll ever wake up? They provide no utility and they're suffering.
And how do you know they're suffering?
Because we can test their brain waves and we see that they're undergoing a permanent sense of pain. Their left arm hurts them all the time.
Okay.
Maybe this is a bad example. Here's what I'm trying to get at. I'm trying to get at why you think human beings have more value than other members of the animal kingdom.
Well, didn't I just explain it?
Well, you said that they can experience joy, but I don't know what's so good about joy.
That's not.
What if there's a higher good than joy?
That's not what I was saying.
Okay, say it again so I understand
it. My moral values are rooted in empathy towards others.
Okay.
And I'm more capable of empathizing, or like not even necessarily in the emotional sense, but in like the intellectual sense, as in like, I could be that. Like, I'm more capable of doing that with humans than I am with other animals.
Yeah.
And that's like,
I'm still trying to figure out though, just because you are a judge of, like, it seems like then you're placing yourself in a position to where if you can empathize with something more, then it gets more value. Because you're like that other thing. Is that accurate, or am I wrong?
Well,
see, let me tell you the difference. Okay, I think things have intrinsic value based on God. Everything, what you keep seem to come up with some formula for why something has value. I don't have to do that. I can say, for example, in the first page of the Bible is that God made man in His image, male and female. He created them in His own image, and so Christians have always defended human life. I would argue from conception to birth, although I would admit that early Christians didn't have quite the knowledge we have scientifically about conception, fertilization, all of that. But generally speaking, it was Christians who rescued abandoned babies, who disagreed with abortion, who disagreed with slavery, who fought for what we call human and civil rights. I'm going to come back to slavery because I know you want to argue about that. But it was Christians who did that because they have an anthropology that says that humans have value and worth intrinsically, inherently. You can't account for that on atheism. You have to come up with some Goldberg device for every scenario that gives people value. Well, they have utility. Well, they can experience joy. Well, I can have empathy for them. Do they just have value? Can you say that all human beings have equal value everywhere, objectively?
Objectively, there's no concept of moral value objectively. So no, I can't say that.
Okay. So I think that's a problem, because then you could have justifications, as we have seen in other societies, where one group of people determines that another group of people is not worthy of life. Whether it's tribalism, or we'll let this group of people starve to death, or we'll put this people in a ghetto, etc. Atheism cannot account for the consistent value of human life. Human life, the right to life, is not an atheist value.
Well, we don't have to, again, we don't have to account for the equal, like, some objective equal worth of human life, because you haven't demonstrated that moral worth is, like, objective moral worth is a valid concept. You have to first demonstrate that, and then demonstrate...
No, I don't think I have to demonstrate it. I'm proclaiming it. I am declaring that it is axiomatically true. See, there are certain things that are axiomatic.
I know.
Because man is made in God's image, therefore,
but
it's a brute fact.
There's a principle called Occam's razor,
right,
where you're supposed to be parsimonious about it, as in you're supposed to have the fewest number of axioms as you can get away with, while still having all the explanatory power that you need.
All right, fair. Here's my axiom for universal human value. Are you ready?
Okay.
God said so.
When?
How does it get simpler to that?
When did he say
First
so?
page of the Bible. God made them in His image.
How do you know that's Him saying
Be fruitful and multiply. Well, again, axiomatically, I believe the Bible is the Word of God.
How do you justify that axiom in terms of Occam's razor? That seems pretty unparsimonious to me.
What is that? What is Occam? I'm trying to figure out how Occam's razor fits into this. The Bible says about itself that it is the Word of God. So, therefore...
How do you know it's true?
It is axiomatically true that the Bible is the Word of God.
That's one of your axioms.
It cannot be untrue.
How can it not be untrue?
It would be like a law of logic being false. It cannot be unfalse. We live in a world that is constrained by certain realities.
Your axiom, that axiom seems to be unnecessary, because I'm doing just fine without it. I think I have as much explanatory power as you do in this.
I don't think so. I don't think you've demonstrated explanatory power at all. You can't tell me why human beings have value. You just admitted that certain groups that human beings don't have universal value.
Okay, but again, in order to say that I don't have explanatory power for why human beings have objective value, you first have to demonstrate that human beings have objective value and why I can't account for that. And you have not demonstrated the prior of those two things.
Say that
Except for, you've not demonstrated the prior of those two things empirically. That's how axioms are made. You have to empirically demonstrate something, and then you build a framework for explaining that thing that relies on axioms. This is how all scientific theories work. This is how all philosophical theories work, etc.
Yeah.
You can't just say this is an axiom, therefore this, and this, therefore this is an axiom.
That's fair. How do you prove scientifically that human beings have value?
You don't.
Right. It has to be axiomatically stated.
Well, you can't prove that because it's not a measurable thing. That's
exactly.
the thing.
It's an axiom.
It's
It's a brute fact.
Why is that an axiom, though? You can't have an axiom about something immeasurable because your axioms are definitionally supposed to account for things that are measurable.
No.
Yes, that's how. Do you not believe in?
It's an axiom.
Do you not believe in Occam's razor?
I mean, is it the word of God? No. Is it probably true most of the time? Yes. Does that mean that every situation, two people are going to judge something by Occam's razor and come to the same conclusion every time? It's a helpful device, but I'm saying God axiomatically exists.
I'm arriving at the position of I don't think God exists by Occam's razor, because that is an axiom that you have that is unnecessary.
Okay, fair. So you think it's simpler to explain creation apart from a creator?
It's not what I said. I said it requires less axioms. That's what Occam's razor states specifically. We got to be more specific than that.
Okay, well, how did creation come to be? Do you think you exist?
Yeah, I think therefore I am.
Okay, so Rene Descartes, a great Christian. Now, so you do think you exist. You don't think we're like, this isn't some phantom conversation. It's really taking place in real space and time.
Basically,
and what is the causal chain of events that brought us to this place? Apart from God.
I saw your sign.
Right,
I thought it would be an interesting conversation.
We'll go back all the way to your birth. Right?
I'm not going to go out the whole.
But we kind of have to, though, because that's my point is that the axiom that God exists and that God created all things on Occam's razor seems very simple. You would have to, on atheism, account for the creation of all things on an even simpler thing by Occam's razor. So how do you account for creation apart from God with a simpler version of my events?
Well, there's an even simpler way of arriving at this, and generally when you're constructing an axiom in accordance with Occam's razor, you try to invoke the fewest number of phenomena that you cannot measure, such as God, etc.
Okay.
And so
I came up with one.
When you posit God, as
so what do you posit?
Initial phenomenon. Well, I'm about to get there. When you posit God as the initial phenomenon, you are positing something that we can't measure, we can't know to exist empirically, and that thing is necessarily more complex than the universe if it created the universe meticulously and with perfect design. I think another thing that would be more simple is a God that creates imperfectly. And then other thing that would be more simple is that the universe spontaneously came to exist through what are called quantum fluctuations. And
where do those come from?
They come from empty space, literally.
So you think something comes from nothing?
I don't just think that. We can demonstrate it. In empty space, there are what's called quantum
fluctuations.
Vacuums? You can look into vacuums.
A vacuum is not nothing. A vacuum is space.
A vacuum is empty space. Yeah.
There's no empty space is a contradiction in terms. It's literally absurd. This is what I was saying earlier when I was saying technically absurd. Atheists have to believe technically absurd. This would be a good thing. Philosophically, in any sane world, something does not come from nothing.
And
you're saying a vacuum is nothing.
Okay, so you believe that as an axiom, and then in order to account for the fact that something does come from empty space, you are now positing that empty space actually must be something in particular?
Your own words betray the fact that empty space is something. You know what it is? It's empty space. It's like having a room with no furniture in it. Space is a thing. Do you agree that space, time, matter, and energy are kind of four sides of the same coin?
I agree that matter and energy are two sides of the same coin.
Okay. You don't think space is...
I think space...
I mean, I'm not a physicist, believe me, so...
Yeah.
You probably know more about it than me.
I think space and time are not even really two separate things in the same way that matter and energy... They're not two separate concepts in the way that matter and energy aren't.
Okay.
But, yeah. I don't think you can...
Okay, but here's the deal. Here's the deal.
All of
Occam's razor would say, Occam's razor would say that you are invoking quantum energy, which you don't know anything about because...
I do know something about it.
But the greatest physicists in the world don't understand, like, Planck time and quantum energy. Not really, right?
No one could possibly understand anything about it, but to say that I don't know anything at all... Sorry. No one can possibly understand everything about it, but to say that I don't know anything at all about it is
Peter.
Hello.
Overstepping. Hello.
Okay. Hello, but I guess my point would be this, that I mean, I know Lawrence Krauss wrote the book, Something from Nothing, or A Universe from Nothing, or something like that. But I don't believe when he says the word nothing, he is constraining himself to the laws of logic that he must. When he says nothing, it's a vacuum, it's empty space, it's quantum this, it's where these different rules apply. But that's not nothing. Now, I do believe that God created ex nihilo, from nothing. But God existed.
But didn't he necessarily exist in order to create something?
Yes.
And in that sense, isn't he creating something from something, that something being himself?
Okay, yes. Okay. Your terms are acceptable.
Okay.
But when the Bible says from nothing, it means nothing material. So there was nothing that materially existed that he shaped into the earth and moon or something like that. But rather, there was no space, there was no time, there was no matter, there was no energy, that he provided all of that. And I think that's actually quite an elegant solution. And otherwise, you are left with an infinite regress of causal chains, or you are left with a Big Bang that is more accountable, which has the same Occam's razor problem, where you have to appeal to space vacuums and quantum mechanics to account for the explosion. But where did those things come from? I think if you think it's a problem that I have to appeal to God, I think it's a problem that you have to appeal to empty spaces, vacuums, and quantum physics.
Well, we have to appeal to something, so we might as well appeal to something that we know exists, that we can observe.
But how did that thing come into existence?
If you want to appeal to God as an initial object, it's equally as valid to appeal to the universe as an initial object.
I disagree.
Why? Because the universe, at least we know the universe exists.
Yeah, but, okay, well, now I am going to quote William Lane Craig, everything that begins to exist has a cause. And the universe began to exist.
Well, everything that begins to exist in the universe... What? Okay, wait.
The universe...
Wait, hang on. During quantum fluctuation, particles begin to exist, and usually they collide and cancel each other out. But they do begin to exist, and there's not some definite cause you could point to. It's not even deterministic. You can point to a cause that determines where those particles will appear, when they'll appear, or even that they'll appear. It's just it happens literally completely randomly.
In a vacuum. How'd the vacuum get there?
Well, it's an initial object in the same way you posit God as an initial object.
No, I disagree. Again, everything that begins to exist has a cause, including vacuums.
Well, but I just showed you something that doesn't have a cause. Quantum fluctuations.
Okay,
those particles exist, but they don't have a specific cause.
Yeah, well, the cause is God.
And they begin to exist.
Well, yes, just like you began to exist at a particular moment, right?
Yes.
So sperm and egg come together to form something new.
Yes.
Okay, so there was a time when you were not.
This is true.
And yet, you began to exist, so you have a cause. And so I would argue anything physical, anything material does have a cause. Even something like quantum protons or whatever, because the conditions are set for it to come into being. So there are certain things where the conditions have to be set for that to come into being, but the conditions still have to be set. So you still need something outside of space-time, matter, and energy for that thing to come into being. For anything material to come into being.
Maybe the conditions for the universe are nothingness. But
okay.
If
so how does something
the
come
empty
from
space the empty space doesn't in particular cause those particles to come into existence. Those particles' positions and times and the energy with which they collide, etc., cannot be determined by some cause. They're completely random. And in the same way that maybe empty space is a great condition for that, in the same way maybe nothingness is a great condition for the universe to come into existence. But we can't really know that. And if you're positing essentially a God of the gaps, because we can't know something, therefore God must have done
I'm positing God axiomatically. There's a difference. God of the gaps.
Well, yes,
God
but you're positing that axiom as a way to fill in a gap in your knowledge,
right,
that could just as easily be filled in with an axiom that is less complicated and appeals to fewer things that you cannot measure and cannot know to
I don't
exist.
think you're appealing to fewer things. You are appealing to vacuums, quantum mechanics, and some concept of nothingness.
I said again, there's a caveat. Fewer things that we don't know to exist. As in, we know
but it doesn't
that
matter.
quantum fluctuations happen.
But
I wasn't even appealing
well,
to those as a cause for the...
I do know that God exists. But B,
how?
How do you
know?
Well, because He has revealed it to me. Because it says so in His Word. Because to reject God is to believe in absurdity. And I believe you believe in technically absurd things. You are appealing to the existence of things that literally pop into being with no cause.
Yes,
and you're saying
we've
that
observed them doing that.
In a vacuum.
Yes.
Right. So it doesn't come from nothing or nowhere. It comes from a set of laws, physical laws, that were already established.
It doesn't come from a set of laws, because those...
Quantum laws are laws, are they not?
No, I'm talking about quantum fluctuations. Quantum fluctuations are literally completely random.
Okay, but they're still... they're not governed by any laws at all? Could they happen in this space right here? Yes. They could?
They do.
Okay. So they don't need to be in a particular vacuum then?
Well, there are vacuums within the space. There's vacuums of certain sizes, certain shapes, etc. Between the molecules in the air, etc.
Yeah, I'm going to admit that this is an area of weakness for me. I mean, I got a C in physics, so all this I've said is just stealing from other people that have studied this more than me. However, I'll let the viewer decide, and I'll let you in your own conscience decide if you have provided a simpler or more elegant solution to the creation of anything. Okay. I don't think you have provided a creation from nothing.
I do need to go, so I think that's a perfect note to leave it on.
Okay. It was
fun. The viewer will decide.
Sasha, is there somewhere people can, learn more about you or, follow you on social media or something?
I would rather they didn't, to be honest.
Okay. All right. Well, I hope you can come by and talk again.
All right.
Have a good day.
You too.